This is a brief video to walk through how to use canned responses in Gmail, basically saved emails to reuse again and again without just having to look for an email and copy and paste it. So it's actually built into Gmail, it's not an add-on. So for starters, we'll enable that by going to the gear icon in Gmail, going to settings, coming on over here to the advanced tab, and then look for canned response templates and enable that. It's disabled by default. It might be scrolled down until it's enabled when it will bump it to the top, but look for canned response templates and click enable. So after you've done that, then you can start using canned responses. So I'll walk through a couple things here. One thing to keep in mind is that canned responses basically add information into whatever email you're working on. That might be a tool for you to figure out something creative to do with it other than just saving emails. But basically, if I'm to pull up a canned response and load that, it's going to add that to this stuff that's already sitting on here. So we're going to start by making a clean email, deleting that. Then I have these three dots down here and one for canned responses. And these are my currently saved canned responses. So I'll just click on the top one here, comps video. So you can see whatever the title of that canned response is, whatever the title is essentially what goes into the subject line. Vice versa, whenever you're writing an email, you want it to become a canned response. What's in the subject line gets saved as what it's called in your list down there. So here's one saved video I have, and where all I do is go in and add the person's first name. Usually I personalize that subject line a little bit and call it numbers on your home at and put the address, something so it doesn't feel like it's such a canned response. One thing about canned responses is they do not fill information in for the recipients up there. So say for instance, you needed to know that every time you wanted this video, this email to be copied to a certain address, you just have to know to save that in your canned response to begin with. Say cc to closing at chsagent.com. Save that as your canned response. So that way, whenever you load it, you'll see a little set of instructions to yourself to remember to, okay, copy that into the cc field, delete it from the body of the email, and then you're good to go. So go about this another way. Let me clear that out. If we want to create a canned response, so we will just, whatever the subject line here is, we'll say test canned response and test email message. We're going to make this a new canned response. So again, we click on these dots, go to canned response. We have to scroll down to the bottom of this list. If your list is shorter, it'll probably show up on here, but I've got a long list of them. And then go over to save draft as template. Now by default, it shows all your existing canned responses, so you can overwrite a canned response that way by going to save draft as template, then clicking on the title of an existing one. That will overwrite it for you. If you want to create a new one, scroll down to the bottom again, save as new template. So right now giving me this pop-up to name it. Right now we put the subject line over here as test canned response. This says test canned response. If I change this, call it test canned response 2 for whatever reason, well, now it will be called that in the list, and the next time we use it, I'm going to create a new email. I'm going to pull up that one, load my templates, test canned response 2. You see that number 2 is now in the subject line. So whatever you call it, even if you rename it, it's going to be part of the subject line. Obviously, I don't need that canned response, so to walk you through deleting them, it's kind of obvious at this point. You scroll down to the bottom of the list, delete template, find the one you want to delete, and delete it. And so now your list is back to what it originally was. So there you go. That walks you through making canned responses in Gmail.